Hello everyone and welcome to Adastra. Let's not make a big deal out of this, let's just get into it. We haven't played this in a while, so hopefully my save states are still here. They are, thank goodness. Let's take a... Oh! Seems we left off in a very interesting place. I haven't actually looked. I should do that real quick. Over the next week or so, I start to get used to my new life. I find that the days are easy to adjust to, and like Alex said, 19 hours in a day isn't all that bad. Though the sleeping period is a bit shorter than I'm used to, it's been easier now that I sleep on Amicus's bed. Oh my. After I'd fallen asleep next to him, we decided that there was enough room. The wolf set one of his many long pillows down between us as a courtesy to me, even if he did sometimes end up rolling over onto my end. I'm aware of that problem. There he is. There's our boy. He's been busy these past few days, and I think it's because of what happened between him and Cato. He doesn't suggest any more outings, and instead wakes up early to go to meditation before leaving the city to do various campaigning stuff. Ah, the life of a political superstar. Amicus doesn't explain exactly what that involves, and he doesn't bring me along. I ask why, considering I thought my main job was to accompany him to these things, but he says he's not doing the stuff that involves me quite yet. What are we doing, gladiatorial battle? I am many updates behind, so there's a lot of territory I have yet to cover, so I appreciate your enthusiasm, but no spoilers. I have seen enough pictures, apparently, that include some naughty times, and we have yet to encounter that ourselves. In this particular playthrough, so we'll see. Instead, my introduction to the people of Adastra is going to be during the first trial. He says the reveal will be a lot more impressive that way, and that rumors are already spreading about his new pet. That's another thing, my involvement in the trial. Apparently I'm going to be his partner in the dance portion, something I have no clue how to do. Oh, lovely, there's going to be dancing. That makes sense in a political scene. Dancing. See, that's the thing, is that's kind of a joke, but it also isn't, because formality is there in ceremony, and it's dumb. Not this game specifically, just in general, I find ceremony to be dumb. I've been getting more and more worried about it, telling Amicus he really needs to show me what I'm going to be doing, but he brushes me off, telling me it's no big deal. Bit of a douche canoe, it would seem. Apparently the dancing is rather easy, and the main objective is just to show me off. Since everyone already knows what Alex is, I should be rather impressive to the officials that will be judging us. Amicus is confident that we'll win that portion of the contest easily. That means we're not gonna it's not gonna be easy, and we're not gonna win. That's my prediction. I realize now that that's only 3 days away, and despite Amicus's constant reassurances, I can feel the stress building. I can only trust him that the dance is actually easy and simply an opportunity to show me off. Meanwhile, half of my days tend to be empty of things to do. So hard, difficult lives. I'm left on my own to either hang around in Amicus's room, have conversations with Com about Adastra and its culture, or just try to busy myself with menial work. Sometimes I can't with Alex, which I enjoy, but lately I wonder if the idea that we're technically going to be competing against each other is causing a bit of a rift between us. Oh no. Still, I get a lot of time with him since Cassius is out just as much as Amicus, if not more. Sorry, my chair is a bit loud. Oh. I see you. Mother... Oh, no. I don't like the scraping. What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, you went to the side with the headphone on. Interesting. We got into the gardens a few times, and other times we watch Adastran TV together, sometimes even catching Amicus or Cassius giving speeches to the seemingly endless crowds of wolves. The broadcasters seem to like tallying up numbers, and it's clear that Cassius always has an edge. This is interesting to me because I actually am politically minded, and I keep aware of political stuff going on, so to see it framed in a relatable way but on a different planet is a little odd. I'd say. Still, from what I've gathered, Amicus has had a bit of a surge and manages to at least do better than half Cassius's numbers. That's not great. It's a little worrying, though, and from what I can tell, popularity doesn't factor into the triers. But from what I can tell, popularity doesn't factor into the trials. Well, that's good. When I'm not with Alex, I try to avoid running into any of the others, which is actually pretty easy. Kata was almost always absent from the palace. Absent from the place. You know, the place we're at? It's called the place. Doing his own official business as acting emperor. Yeah, I've spent all that time away. I'm still gassy as shit. I'm taking my meds regularly. Don't know what the hell. Virginia hasn't bothered to talk to me about our first interaction, probably deeming me incapable of any sort of conversation. Neferu, who I apparently have given the voice of Spencer but drawn out. I feel like I tried a different one, but then I wound up changing it. I don't know. Is the one person I have difficulty avoiding. Unlike the others, he greets me when he sees me and occasionally sticks out his paw so that I have to kiss it. The only difference now is that after I do it, he does the same to me. I think I gave him the false impression that it's some sort of normal greeting for my people. He seems to enjoy it quite a bit, but only tries it when Amicus isn't around. As for Cassius, I don't see him for the entire week, until today. Dun dun dun. We've gotten past the recap. Thank goodness. We're only a third or halfway through the episode at this point. I'm in the dining room watching the screens and zoning out. The Wolves are pretty talented at making basically all of their films incredibly boring. Probably something to do with the long-winded monologues and theatrical acting. Alex is gone today, doing some type of ambassador work. I feel like that's a dig at, like, sci-fi. I love Doctor Who. Don't fuck with my sci-fi. Alex is gone today, doing some type of ambassador work in the city, while Amicus is out with Kato, training. Though he's supposed to be back in the next hour to give me that dance practice he promised. I'm nodding off and thinking about heading back to Amicus's room to take a quick nap when Cassius suddenly comes in. He stalks in with that particular stiff gait that he has, along with his usual sour expression. Even though it's been a while since I've seen him, I haven't forgotten that look of his. Reading is difficult. I jump up and quickly sit up straight, looking at the ground. There's only a moment of silence before his reedy voice breaks it. I don't know what reedy means, but I do know that my voice for him is basically a Merrick Ishtar ripoff. Let's hear that real quick. I definitely remember the voice correctly, but what does reedy mean? High and thin in tone. Well, I got the high right. I don't know what thin in tone means, but either way, let's see what he has to say. Pat, come with me. Is that the right voice? Isn't that weird that that's the first voice that comes back? And with that, he turns and stalks right back out of the room. I sit there stunned for a moment. First of all, Amicus told Cassius never to give me commands. Does that mean I shouldn't listen to him? I know immediately that that wouldn't be a very good idea, and I jump off of my bed and hurry out into the hall. The important thing is that Amicus isn't here right now, and I know that Cassius is not someone I want to piss off. I still remember how quickly he suggested he hit me as punishment. Oh. Okay, that was on purpose. I'm just in time to see his white tail disappear around a corner, and I jog after him, noting just how confident he is that I'll follow him without question. I don't think he's even looked back once. I realize that we're heading out to the gardens, toward the same tables and benches that Alex and I have eaten our lunches at a few times. Oh, God, that's when I see Virginia Neferu sitting down already, cups and plates already on the table. I realize that then what it is Cassius summoned me for, and I relax a bit. After serving breakfast so many times, I know exactly what's expected of me. Fuck. When Virginia spots us, he waves at Cassius, but he only grumbles under his breath. Why is he here? I see the wolf's tail lash around in irritation before it settles as we get closer to the pair. Good morning, Virginia. And Neferu. Cassius's voice takes on a dismissive tone as he says the jackal's name, barely even nodding his head at him.
Odds up be with you, Cassius. How are you this day?
That doesn't seem quite right now. Really menacing. I'll have to get into the voices again. I haven't done these in a while regularly, so I apologize if they sound a bit off. Since I haven't done them for fucking 5 months. Cassius' tail lashes again, but only once.
Wonderful. Virginia, what, you didn't tell me we'd be having a guest.
Virginia raises a brow. I'm sorry, did you need a warning of some kind, Cassius? Cassius sits, leaning back in the chair that won't be quiet, as he keeps his gaze on Virginia.
I simply like to be prepared.
There's a moment of silence, and Neferu, still smiling, looks back and forth between the brother and sister.
I'm sorry, am I causing an inconvenience?
No, Neferu. Cassius is simply being his usual gloomy self. Cassius's paws, which are clasped on the table, tighten their grip on each other. Virginia doesn't seem to notice, though, and instead looks up at me. And you brought William? Cassius doesn't even look up at me.
I'm borrowing him. My pet is being I'm borrowing him. My pet is doing diplomatic work in this city.
Virginia rolls her eyes. Really, Cassius, you can't manage to serve yourself even once?
If I am to be emperor, I need to act like one. And please leave questioning me for another time. I don't want to be rude to our guest.
Cassius smiles at Neferu, though it looks forced. Another moment of tense silence. I take it as an opportunity to do my work. Me serve now? I almost snicker at my own caveman speech.
Yes, pet.
I go about serving him, picking up slices of bread and seasoned bread off the... Baked and seasoned bread, okay. Off the platter before setting them on a smaller plate. Reading takes practice, which I have not done. I set this in front of Cassius. Then I pour out some tea out of the heated pot into Cassius's cup before finally stepping back, hands clasped together. Luckily, Cassius and Virginia act like I'm not there, carrying on their conversation. Only Neferu seems to be constantly aware of my presence, occasionally glancing at me.
Are you enjoying your stay here, Neferu? Neferu?
Neferu snaps his gaze from me to Cassius.
Oh, yes, very much so. You've all been so hospitable to me. I thank you.
Cassius waves his paw.
It's the Wolven way, Neferu. No thanks are needed.
Now the moment of silence stretches out before Virginia reaches for a plate. Can I get you some penmem, Neferu? But Neferu suddenly stands up.
Actually, I should be on my way. I can tell that you intended to speak with your sister alone, Cassius. Good day, and good day to you, William.
I jump, but quickly duck my head in response. Neferu then wanders off into the gardens, paws behind his back as he disappears behind the bushes and flowers. Cassius looks after him, his ears lowered, the inside slightly red.
He's rather blunt, isn't he?
Virginia doesn't respond, and Cassius looks over to see she's glaring at him.
What?
He is our guest, Cassius. Start treating him like one.
What?
Cassius sighs, looks away, pouting. Virginia takes a sip of her tea before leaning back in her chair, letting the silence drag on a bit before finally speaking. What is it, Cassius?
What is what?
Why are you sulking more than the usual?
Cassius sighs. I am very busy, Virginia, and I freed up this portion of my day to have a good conversation. I've barely spoken to you since you returned, and I wanted to ask about your trip. Words! A lot of words all at once!
Cassius takes a brisk sip from his cup.
It's difficult to speak immediately when others are around, especially those of a different species.
Cassius, if you wanted to speak alone, you only had to ask. I was simply worried that Neferu was growing bored of the palace, so I invited him along. Virginia grins. And you don't have to play emperor around me. I'm your sister. Lean back and relax a little bit. Cassius sighs again, but doesn't lean back.
I must play the role I intend to fit, even when the situation does not call for it.
You think Father was always like that?
I don't know. He did not speak to me much.
Well, he wasn't. You can relax around me, Cassius. Cassius sighs and eats one of the crackers, leaning back into his chair very slightly.
So, how was Lux?
Oh, you know, riots and crime and complaints about a lack of funding.
Well, there is a lack of funding.
Oh! It would sound like some interesting conversations happening, judging by the piano that suddenly hit, which I hope you can hear. I feel like if I get it, I can't. I'm still recording, but via OBS now, so that everything's all on one audio and visual track, so I can't edit things later. So I'm just kind of flying blind right now. There is a lack of funds, certainly, but not from us. You know the officials there are corrupt and take most of it.
That isn't the people's fault.
No, but they should choose their politicians more carefully. They're electing officials based on how outrageous they can be. How does that result in a sound government?
I thought I was the one supposed to do the commentary. Jesus Christ.
The people are frustrated and the sentiment is spreading throughout the Empire. I've been telling you this for years.
Certainly, we all know this. The question is how to fix it.
By getting rid of the triumvirates the people elect.
Whoa. Sorry, I got Winds of Change flashbacks.
If we ruled directly, the Empire would become as sound as the palace we govern from.
And you expect to do that easily?
I expect it to be very, very difficult, but it's something I intend to do very, very carefully. The people need direction, and electing chaotic triumvirates is their cry for help.
We're getting actual character development from Cassius here. He's not just a gloomy dick. He's actually seemingly politically minded and considers the people he's supposed to govern. Jesus. Virginia doesn't say anything, instead taking a very dainty sip of tea from a cup. Cassius clears his throat and sits up once again.
Anyway, why did you decide to bring this Camion back with you? You never explained it clearly in your letters.
But I did. His accommodations in Lux were rather poor. Bringing him here and acquainting him with the Imperial family seemed like the natural decision to me. You know he's the Pharaoh's second son.
Yes, but why was he in Lux, and why didn't I know about it?
Virginia shrugs. You can't expect to know about every diplomatic visit that there is. Interesting. Anyway, he was touring the siblings and was in Lux when the depletion happened.
My question is, why wouldn't the Pharaoh send a ship immediately to retrieve his own son? Alex makes sense, being your typical diplomat, but the son of a Pharaoh?
He chose to stay.
Cassius snorts. And why would he do that?
Virginia stares at Cassius for a moment, a frown on her face. Cassius, you know the reason as well as I do. Despite the absolute chaotic, bankrupt, parentless mess our empire is in, the Camions are willing to ally with us. He's trying to help establish that.
They are taking advantage of us when we're at our weakest, Virginia. You know how I feel about this, and that I have no plans for an alliance.
I'm planning for all scenarios, Cassius, and as of now, you aren't guaranteed the emperorship. Cassius doesn't say anything, staring at his empty plate. Slowly, I walk up to the table and refill the plate. Neither of the wolves look at me. We should be grateful the Camions even want to speak to us. None of the other siblings want to be associated with a race that seems to have been abandoned.
We don't know that yet.
Well, they aren't speaking to us, are they? And they left us starbound. If this is permanent, we may never be able to travel beyond the star system again. That catches my attention. Didn't Amicus tell me that when he becomes emperor, he'd be able to take me back? They're acting like they won't have the stretch drive forever. Cassius laughs.
Once we have a new emperor, they'll give us guidance again. They stopped immediately after Father's death. What other explanation could there be?
They didn't after Grandfather's death. Cassius waves his paw in the air.
Because Father was in line for the throne without any challenge. The emperorship had not been in limbo like this in living memory. They are simply waiting for the Empire to have firm leadership again before re-establishing contact.
Cassius snatches a cracker off his plate I just refilled.
It has happened before, even if that was before
Drusus? Drusus. Okay.
But even if we're not able to, I have no doubt that I can still lead this empire to prosperity.
And how would we do that without the stretch? We'd not be able to communicate with our own children anymore.
If the Camians learn the stretch, then so can we. As for our children, abandon them. They've only been a burden anyway.
Cassius glances at me, and I quickly look down at the ground. Virginia sighs loudly. Sometimes the things you say frighten me, Cassius.
Well, you know it'd be less so if you were on my side, Virginia.
I'm on no one's side, Cassius. It's my duty to serve the Emperor, no matter who that might be.
You're on Amicus's side. It's as clear as Vita.
Which I imagine is water? Oh, it's like Vita water. Or is that a thing? Vitamin water? I don't fucking get it.
Life water.
What?
I said life water.
What about it?
It's the same as Vito water.
Oh. This is why I wanted to ask you stuff, but you were trying to sleep and be responsible.
You're like totally neglecting that. Fucker.
Fuck you. Preference does not matter in the end. I don't like Cato, yet I serve him. Cassius' ears flatten and he looks around.
Lower your voice when you say such things, Virginia. Are you saying you dislike me like you do Cato?
Well, of course not, but like I said, your ideas are extreme.
Radical ideas are needed for times like these. It's how I've gotten so far with the people. With the pupil? Ah.
Well, just remember that you and Amicus are both my brothers, and I love you equally. Just be civil when the decision is made. Uh-oh. Amicus is not happy. Cassius! I can't scream because there's a lot of people sleeping around me right now. We'll jump as Amicus's voice seems to rattle the ivy on the pillars. Cassius settles back in his seat, rolling his eyes.
What, Amicus?
What in the hell are you doing with my pet? Come says you have him!
He wanted to serve me. How could I deny him?
Do not lie to me, Cassius. I told you never to talk to him.
Are you going to yell at me or tell me where you are so I can send him back?
Where are you? I'm going to come out there.
Cassius does look a little worried then. Amicus's voice sounds a little off, in addition to all the other reasons, because I'm trying to be loud, but quiet. It's very weird.
Calm, where is Amicus?
The main hall. Oh, what was it? The computer had the computer voice.
The main hall, Cassius. I'm coming out.
Well, that's for you to decide.
Pet, go back inside and do not tell him where we are.
Yeah, Cassius shoos me away while Virginia just chuckles behind a paw. That was funny. Well, we got to learn a little bit about Cassius and a little bit more of what is really going on with the Empire and what does Neferu have to do with it all. I'm looking forward to hearing more what's coming up in the next episode, but as I warned you, these episodes, since they're not streamed anymore, are going to be a little shorter. They're going to be edited a little bit because I'm a bumbling fucking mess when it comes to reading. I was before, but now I'm worse. Can you imagine? But in addition, Bri got a nap before she has a shift. What, at 3? Yeah. Jesus. March 11th, August 15th. I know that it might not sound great to be saying, like, for someone that you enjoy what they're doing, to constantly hear them say that they sometimes don't want to do what you enjoy them doing. And I'm not trying to make anyone feel bad or anything like that. It's just a fact that, sometimes I don't want to do stuff. But we'll see. And eventually, I downloaded all the recent updates for everything, so I do intend to get back to everything. It'll just be in time. So be patient, please. You've been very patient so far and very kind, so I have faith that now that you know for sure what is coming back, and at least that it's coming back soon, that you'll be kind. So thank you all very much for watching, and do the 20-second end slate. Today's advice is to never play cards with someone named after a city. Okay, we're in the end slate now. We've got patrons on the left. Thank you to all of those. You can go to the Patreon link there. There's also videos on the right, one of which is recommended by YouTube just for you specifically, and the other one is just